You may not need this message today, but someday you will. One day when the silence feels heavier than the prayer, when the ache in your chest just won't leave, and when you start to wonder if God still remembers your name. You'll think back to this moment, because the truth is you were made for more. You were built for more. Not to impress this world, not to keep up, not to simply survive. You were made to belong. You were made to hear. And that sound you've been trying to ignore, that small pull under the noise, that's him. It's not guilt, and it's not imagination. It's the same voice that called to Adam in the garden. Where are you? Genesis 3:9. Not because he didn't know, but because he wanted Adam to remember who he was. And maybe you've been running. Maybe you're pretending everything is fine. You go through your day and you keep your head down. You don't say much about the emptiness that follows you home. You laugh at the right times. You pray when you should. But deep down, you wonder why you can't feel him like you used to. That ache that you feel is not absence, it's invitation. Because God still speaks. He's calling your name. Psalm 3:4, the Lord will call to me from his holy mountain, and he still does. Not in thunder or fire, but in the quiet that follows your exhaustion. You hear him most when everything else stops moving, and there's a reason the noise feels so loud. The world will do anything to keep you distracted, to keep you from remembering. But somewhere between the chaos and the quiet, his voice waits. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. You've tried to fill that space, haven't you? More work, more scrolling, more things that don't last, but nothing can drown out what was written in your heart before you were born. You were created to respond to him. You were created to belong to the sound of his presence. And you might say, I'm tired. I'm so tired. And he understands. Even Elijah, the prophet who called fire from heaven, sat down under the tree and begged God to take his life. He was done. God didn't shout at him. He fed him. He let him rest. Then in the stillness, he whispered, that's who he is, not the voice that scolds you, but the voice that restores you. The one that says, you are mine, Isaiah 43:1. You may think your faith is too small now, too quiet. But even a mustard seed can move a mountain. You may feel unworthy, but his mercy is new every morning. You may feel unseen, but the scriptures say the eyes of the Lord move to and fro throughout the earth, that he may strongly support those whose heart is completely his. 2 Chronicles 16:9. You're not invisible. You're not forgotten. You're not too late. There's a remnant, small, unseen, but alive. And they are not perfect. They're not loud, but they love him still. And maybe that's you. You keep showing up. You keep believing when it didn't make sense. You kept praying when no one else knew you were praying. And that's not weakness, that's faithfulness. Heaven sees it and records it. Every tear, every sigh, every moment you choose to love instead of being bitter, all matters. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed under the Spirit. Psalm 34:18. Maybe you've wondered why God doesn't speak like he used to. Maybe you've been waiting for the thunder while all along he's been whispering in the peace. And his silence is never rejection, it's preparation. He's building something in you that can stand when the storm comes. And you may not know it now, but every quiet moment, every unanswered prayer, every time that you've had to wait, None of that's ever wasted. He's teaching you how to hear him again, how to listen past the noise, because there's still a call in your life. The same call that came to Ezekiel. Son of man, I have made you a watchman. It wasn't a command of judgment. It was an invitation of trust. Maybe you thought God was done using you. He's not. Maybe you thought your time had passed. It hasn't. And maybe you thought your heart was too broken to be used again. But it isn't. He still writes your name in his hands. Isaiah 49:16. He still calls you chosen. 1 Peter 2:9. He still says, I will never leave you or forsake you. Hebrews 13:5. You may not need this message today, but when the noise returns and you feel the pull again, remember this: you were made for more. You were made for him, to hear him. And no matter how far you think you've gone, his voice still knows the way home. You've heard the call, and now you have to decide what to do with it. Because the moment you start to wake up, the world around you will try to put you back to sleep. It's subtle. A little compromise here, a little distraction there, until you start to forget what peace even feels like. But you weren't meant to drift. You were meant to stand. Isaiah 60, verse 1 says, God doesn't call you to survive. He calls you to shine. Arise, shine, for the light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. That means even when the world grows dark, his light in you becomes clear. No, it's not easy. Some days you feel the weight of it. You feel like you're fighting the shadows, like no one else understands the battle you're in. But Scripture tells us we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, Ephesians 6:12. So when you feel the heaviness, remember you are not crazy. You're in a war. Not a war of politics or opinions, but the war for your heart. And every time you choose faith over fear, forgiveness over resentment, prayer over panic, you win ground. Heaven sees it. Corinthians 10:4, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Every quiet prayer, every yes to love, every no to bitterness. Those are our weapons. You might feel small, but you're not powerless. Gideon felt that way too. He said, my clan is the weakest, and I am the least in my father's house. Judges 6:15, but God looked at him and said, go in the strength you have. God never asked you to be strong enough. He never asked you to be available. And maybe that's your mandate, just to show up, to keep your post, to pray when no one else does. God never asked you to be strong enough. He asked you to be available. And maybe that's your mandate, to show up, to keep your post, to pray when no one else does, because faithfulness in small things changes the world in ways you can't even see. And you may think you're just one person trying to do it right, but God built his kingdom on people like you. A shepherd boy with a sling, a fisherman with a rough past, a widow with 2 small coins. He never needed numbers. He needs hearts. So when the darkness whispers, you're wasting your time, remember, Jesus said, let your light so shine before others that they may see your good works and give glory to the Father in heaven, Matthew 5:16. Yes, the world feels heavy. Yes, the noise is loud. But you were born for this hour. God doesn't make mistakes in timing. God doesn't make mistakes in who you are and who you were meant to be. Esther 4:14 says, for such a time as this, he placed you where you are, in your family, in your community, in this season, not by accident, but by assignment. And you may not feel ready. No one ever feels ready. Jeremiah said, I'm only a youth. And God said, don't say I'm only a youth, for everywhere I send you, you shall go. Jeremiah 1:6-7. So go. Not in arrogance, but in love. Let your kindness be your courage. Let your gentleness be your strength. Let prayer be your rebellion against despair, because the world doesn't need louder voices. It needs true voices. It needs the quiet, consistent light of people who refuse to give up on grace. You are part of the remnant, the ones who keep believing when it'd be easier not to. And maybe that's what God is asking you. Don't quit. Hold your ground and hope. And when you feel unseen, just remember, your Father who sees you in secret will reward you, Matthew 6:6. And when you feel weak, remember Corinthians 12:9, my grace is sufficient for you, for your power is perfected in weakness. 2 Kings 6:16, when you feel outnumbered, remember those who are with us are more than those who are with them. You are never standing alone. God is not done with you yet. He's not done with this story yet. Stay on the wall, Watchman. Keep praying, keep believing. And when you can't do either, just whisper his name, because in the silence, he hears you. And even in your waiting, he's working. And even when it feels like the world is slipping away, the kingdom of heaven is breaking through. You've made it this far. And maybe that doesn't sound like much, but it is. You're still standing. You've walked through things that should have broken you, but they didn't. You've lost people. You've questioned God. You've carried pain that nobody saw. And you're still here. Don't overlook that. That's grace. The fact that you're still listening, still reaching, still hoping, that's proof he's not done. He's never given up on you. Sometimes we talk about faith like it's a finish line. And most days, faith is just breathing when you'd rather quit. It's whispering, God, I still trust you, when nothing makes sense. It's remembering Psalm 23:1, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, even when you feel empty. You see, the call of the remnant isn't to be perfect, it's to preserve, to keep your heart soft when the world grows hard, to love when you're being hurt, and to forgive when no one else says they're sorry. To hold on when there's nothing left to hold on to but his promise. In Deuteronomy 31:6 says, be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be in dread, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. That's not just a verse, it's a vow. It's still true. Some of you have prayed for years and see nothing change. Some of us cry until there's nothing left, no words left. And you wonder, did God forget me? He hasn't. He's closer than you think. He's always been closer than you could think. And he's collected every tear, writing every moment, shaping every trial into something eternal. Psalm 147:3 says, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. You may not feel strong, but strength isn't the absence of struggle. It's the presence of God within it. That's how the remnant stands, not with swagger, but with surrender. Not because we have it all together, but because we've learned to lean on the one who does. And maybe that's what God's been teaching you all along. Stop trying to earn my love, he says, and start resting in it. Stop chasing every answer and just start trusting my timing. To realize that your scars don't disqualify you. They testify to who you are. So if you feel weary, lift your eyes. You're not forgotten, you're chosen. You're not abandoned, you're appointed. You're a part of the story that heaven is still writing, the story of those who refuse to let go of faith in a faithless world, and God is proud of you. And maybe nobody's told you that in a long time, but it's true. He's proud of the way you keep coming back. He's proud of the way you've loved when it hurt. He's proud of the way you've carried light when it would have been easier to curse the dark. You've been faithful, and that matters more than you think. Matthew 25:21, well done, good and faithful servant. Enter in the joy of the Lord. That's the sound waiting at the end of this story. That's the promise echoing through eternity. But now, right here in this moment, just breathe. God is not asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to be present, to take the next step, to trust that He will meet you there. You were made for more than fear. You were made for love. You were made to carry His heart into the world that's forgotten what mercy sounds like. So don't stop now. Don't pull back. Don't let the night convince you that it's stronger than the dawn, because the dawn is coming. Psalm 30, verse 5, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And when that morning comes, and it will, you'll see that every tear, every trial, every moment you stayed faithful in the dark was worth it. Keep your heart steady, your hands open and eyes lifted to the Lord. The world may not notice your light, but heaven does. And one day you'll understand that you were never alone. Because the same God who's calling you is still calling. Remember 1 John 4, greater is He that is in me than he that is in the world. The same Jesus who saved you is still interceding for you, and the same Spirit who began His good work in you will bring it to its completion. Philippians 1:6. So tonight, wherever you are, take that deep rest. Breathe. You are loved. You are seen. You are chosen. This is the Watchman's Call. Thank you for listening. God bless.